Hello, I'm Dr. Carol Probsfield, President of State College of Florida. I'm very excited to be here today as we are celebrating our 60th year at SCF. And what a year it is. Our Brain Bowl team is ranked number 6 in the nation and is headed back to the national tournament in Minnesota next month. I hope you'll join me in wishing them good luck and quick buzzing. We've broken ground on our new Library and Learning Center on our Bradenton campus. The new Library and Learning Center, expected to be opened in spring of 2018, will offer our students and community a technology-rich learning environment. Our tennis team is ranked number 2 in the nation, and player Maria Medina, number 1. Not to be outdone, our baseball team has 6 players in the top 100 in U.S. JUCO sports, and is number 5 in the country. Our collegiate students will be participating in several global citizen projects, including assisting Charity Water with providing clean water to developing nations, holding a readathon to fund literacy initiatives home and abroad, and hosting fundraisers and collections for local food banks. We have a number of unique initiatives that make us at SCF proud. Here with me today to discuss a few new programs and events are Dr. Joni Pernot, Professor of Mathematics at SCF, who will be joining us a little later, and Dr. Eric Warwick, SCF Assistant Professor for the Small World Initiative and Pair Instructor. Dr. Warwick, thank you for joining us here today.
Thank you for having me, Dr. Probsfield.
Can you start us off by telling us about the Small World Initiative?
Sure. So the Small World Initiative was formulated at Yale University in 2012 by Dr. Jo Hendelsman and her former postdoc, Dr. Tiffany Zhang. So the program was developed to try to combat 2 major issues. One is to retain students in the sciences. So we see a dwindling supply of students that are prepared to enter the workforce in the sciences. And the second is to deal with the growing concerns of antibiotic resistance. We see a growing number of infections out there in the health community where we're trying to fight off these microbes.
Well, what is the antibiotic crisis exactly?
Sure. So the antibiotic crisis is ever since the development or commercialization of penicillin, the mass production of it, we have seen an alarming increased number of microbes that have become resistant. It's sort of like an evolutionary aspect of it. If the microbes are going to survive, they have to become resistant in some way. So as the bacteria have become resistant over the last 50 years, we've also seen a dwindling supply of new drugs come to market. So the large pharmaceutical companies are not as interested in developing the new drugs because they want you to have to take a drug that maybe you'd be on for the rest of your life, like a cholesterol medication or a heart medication or something you would take for diabetes. An antibiotic is something you take for generally a short period of time, like 15 days or less. And it's not very lucrative for them to go down that. The second issue is the antibiotics, if the bacteria become resistant to it, there's not a market for it. So they're not able to make enough money for the amount of research and R&D that had to go into the development of the drug. So the Small World, being created at Yale University in 2002, it ended up being expanded in 2013. Yale had a lot of success with the Small World project. They were very excited about it. So they had a call of applications to join new partners, to find new partners, and I decided I wanted to apply. So I approached Dr. Filesticker in the department, and I was like, wouldn't this be great if our students could be doing the same exact things that are taking place at Yale University? And she's like, yeah, this would be awesome. So with the support of Mr. Russell, we applied, and we were very fortunate. We were accepted into the program, being one of only 4 community colleges that year in the pilot year. So I went up to Yale. I attended a training workshop. It was extensive. It was 7 days. We did the entire semester curriculum in 7 days. So it was fun. And then I got to come back to SCF. And in 2014, we got to pilot that. Our students were excited about it. They heard about it in the local media when we ended up getting the partnership development. And we got to look at the curriculum. So the curriculum is unique. Our students get an opportunity to authentic research. They get to look at real-world problems and try to solve these real-world problems in our classrooms. So what the curriculum involves is our students go out to the local environment. They collect soil. They bring this dirt back into the laboratory, where they then get an opportunity to isolate the bacteria from the dirt. We then challenge those bacteria to see if they have the ability to produce any antibiotics. And if they do, we will then try to characterize those microbes to make sure they're safe to work with, that the student's not at risk from getting sick from working with what we have in the lab. Once we deem it safe, we then try to grow the bacteria up in large numbers, and we try to separate out the antibiotic from the bacteria.
That sounds very interesting and very exciting for students.
Oh,
I imagine they're very engaged.
They are. So the Small World now has grown to encompass 167 academic institutions around the world. And we are one of them. We are the pioneer partners. So with that being said, you know, I tell our students this every semester because they're overwhelmed when they first walk in. They're like, I'm going to be doing what? And I'm like, yeah, you're going to do this. This is going to be great. And some of our students may not have had an opportunity to go to Yale, but by coming to SCF, they can do the same exact curriculum that they're doing at Yale, doing at the University of Hawaii, doing at the University of Madrid, right here, right in Bradenton. So I think it's just a great opportunity. Our students, they find the curriculum exciting, engaging, and they can make a difference.
It's an incredible experience. So you've been at it now for about 3 years?
Yes.
What have you discovered?
So we have some amazing discoveries. So we found 4 novel strains of bacteria, novel meaning new, never before seen before, nothing's published on them. And we've had one student that has been a great success. So her name is Stephanie Morgan. She attended SCF, she earned her AA degree, and she took my microbiology small world in the pilot year. She went to New College. She was looking to go and earn a biology degree, and I really encouraged her to consider New College because of their strong commitment to research. And we worked an agreement out with Dr. Catherine Woolstrom, her former PI, that we could take our project, what we call PINK, to New College. And she was able to work on it there. So she also earned her bachelor's degree on PINK. We also refer to it as MI2, Marine Isolate Number 2. And it's a novel strain. It's a novel organism. It's never been before characterized. And Stephanie had an input in trying to characterize what this organism is and trying to find its antibiotic. So over the course of the discoveries with these 4 strains, we've developed partnerships. We need help. Like, we can't do this on our own. So I've partnered with New College, with Dr. Catherine Woolstrom, Dr. Matt Thomas in the SCF Biotech program. Some of the students will work on aspects of our organisms when we find them. He'll have them do genetic analysis. They'll look at some of the DNA sequences in some of his classroom settings. And then at Florida Southern College, Dr. Brittany Gasper, her and her students will do whole genome sequencing. They have some additional resources where they're able to sequence the entire genome of the organism and try to piece together where these organisms belong and what they are.
It's pretty amazing that this project that you brought to the State College of Florida now is so broad-reaching that other educational institutions are involved, other students have the opportunity to be part of it. Can I go back to one small part of it? Why pink? How did it get the name pink?
Sure, so that's a great question. So I'm formally trained as a microbiologist, and I've never seen anything like it before. So we're trained mainly to look at pathogens and understand how pathogens work. That's what most graduate students work on in some way when we're talking about microbiology. This organism, we isolate it, it's hot neon pink. It stands on the plate. It was just screaming to us like, pick me, I'm here. So Stephanie picked it because it just stood out on the Petri dish, and it has the color that it's hot neon pink. So that's how she called it pink. And ultimately, the work that she did collectively between New College, SCF, and Florida Southern, we just got a manuscript accepted this month in the International Journal of Fine Focus. So her work that she started at SCF has grown into a manuscript that was accepted, peer-reviewed, and accepted.
Congratulations.
Yeah,
That's
thank you.
incredible.
It's really congratulations to Stephanie for her hard work.
What could be the logical end game to this discovery?
So ultimately, we hope to find new antibiotics. You know, this is the ultimate goal. We're trying to fight that challenge of the antibiotic crisis. So we hope that we will find a new antibiotic.
right here in this soil from our area.
Right
would be
here
this
in
new
our home
antibiotic.
soil. Yep,
That's
right here in
very
our home
exciting.
soil.
Very exciting.
Yeah, Stephanie, she was able to identify the pigment. It's a little bit hard in just 2 years to find the antibiotic, but she was able to identify what made pink pink. She found the pigment with the help, obviously, of the faculty members at New College.
That's wonderful. Good for her.
Oh, it is.
Great
It's great.
start. Thank you for bringing that program to the State College of Florida and our students.
No,
It's
thank you for
amazing.
your support.
My pleasure, but you're also involved in something new now called PARE.
Right.
So could you tell us what PARE stands for and a little about that program?
Sure. So PARE was also originally started at Yale University. One of the initial faculty members, her name is Dr. Carol Bescombe-Slack. She was at Yale working on Small World and was thinking, like, how could I grow Small World in a different avenue? How could she get her own little bit of ownership on the project? So she wrote to the NSF and got her own grant to look for the prevalence of antibiotic resistance in the environment. So remember I kind of said that we're kind of looking for new antibiotics to combat the antibiotic crisis? Well, she's looking at the microbes that are naturally resistant in the environment. What percentage does that exist? So we're brand new. We were one of 10 schools selected to be involved in the PARE project this year. So we have not started the project yet. It's going to be starting in the month of February and March. It has two facets. One, we're going to be having the college students go to the local environment and see what percentage of bacteria are naturally resistant to the antibiotic tetracycline. So Yale has selected tetracycline because it's a commonly overprescribed antibiotic. Let's say you have acne, you commonly get it for multiple indications. So it's been overprescribed, and we're looking to see what percentage of microbes are naturally resistant to it. The second facet is to involve the high school. That's the reason why it's also called PARE. We want to partner with local high schools. So we decided we're going to partner with the SCF Collegiate School. It's right on our campus. It's going to be a great partnership. They have access to our labs. And we really wanted a place where we could find our students could be engaged in. And coming and having the SCF Collegiate School students use our microbiology lab is just going to be great. They're going to be 10th grade students. They're going to be engaged. They're going to get to see what the college is like. And I think that's going to bring to them a door opener. It could maybe make them think about, maybe I want to go to SCF. Maybe I want to be involved in these projects. And the students in the college setting, once they've completed the PARE project, it's a 2-week authentic research experience. They're going to come into the high school classroom and they're going to help mentor the students. They're going to be like ambassadors for the college. The high school students will have an opportunity to talk to them and say, what is it like to go to SCF? How is microbiology? What is it like here? So I think it's going to be great for our students at the collegiate level. I think it's going to be great for our students in the college level to be able to have an opportunity to partake in a 2-week authentic research experience.
So this project kicks off in this spring semester.
Correct.
So how many students will we have the opportunity to impact just this spring?
So this spring we're going to have about 75 students in the microbiology sections that will be partaking in it. And we're going to have 24 collegiate high school students that are going to be involved in it. We're trying to take it in baby steps. We don't want to overwhelm ourselves, but the collegiate school is very engaged. The high school PARE instructor is Miss Jamie Brennan, and she's very much on board with it. She's very excited to get started on the project.
So in the Small World project, we're collecting soil samples.
Yes.
What are the samples we're looking for this time?
Great, so it's also going to involve in the soil. So it's a great common theme. We're just going to the dirt and we're just going to isolate the bacteria from the dirt and we're just going to look to see what percentage of them are naturally resistant. So this is really important, math skills. Math skills, math skills. So the PARE project is really trying to hone in on and developing the math skills of the students. The PARE project isn't science intensive. It's really math intensive. It's trying to get the students to do data analytics, to crunch numbers, to build graphs, to get those skill sets that they need, regardless if you're going into microbiology. You could be going into other disciplines, but the math skills are vital. So the high school students, the college students are going to do a lot of data analysis. We have seen that one of the deterrents for students involved in pursuing a STEM-related field is weak math skills. So we're trying to do as much as we can by showing real-world application to math, by trying to quantify how many bacteria are naturally resistant in the environment. We can use those math skills that they're learning in their algebra class, that they're learning in their calculus class, that they're learning in their statistics class, to be able to help make them pay, hopefully, maybe a little more attention to those math professors out there.
So as you're offering this opportunity to students, are you team teaching with some of our math instructors as well at the college, or are you the jack of all trades when it comes to this?
So I'm not a jack of all trades. I'm formally trained as a microbiologist, and I think it'd be great to work with some of the math faculty members. The projects are just so new. I'm still trying to deal with the discoveries our students are having in the classroom. I haven't had an opportunity yet to reach out to some of the faculty members, but I think it would be a great conversation to have with them to see how we can work together synergistically and be able to develop and enhance the curriculum for our students at SCF, because I think it is a great institution.
Do you see this project expanding to other institutions the same way that we saw with the Small World Initiative?
So it is. So we were selected in our third year. So I applied in the third year of the project. It's currently at about approximately 57 colleges and universities. Some of the big shots are like the University of Pennsylvania, Ivy League, Tufts University. Those are the major centers that are helping to lead the initiative, but it is planning to grow, and we're planning to grow it in multiple ways. So I like using our backyard as something unique, the marine environment. No one has really tapped into the marine environment, either for antibiotic discoveries or for the prevalence of antibiotic resistance. So when I write in for our applications to join these initiatives, I talk about our backyard being very unique. The Florida Gulf Coast, we're right here. And I think it's eye-catching to them. They're very excited about that. So with the PAIR project, we ultimately plan to move into the marine environment, but just to pilot the program, we always follow the protocols that are developed by the initial discoverer. So that way, the classroom modules will hopefully work.
So when you say we go out into the environment and we're collecting these samples, where do you go?
So it depends. It's up to the student, right? So it's the student's project. I try to empower them to recognize it's on you. You can make a difference with society. You could save mankind. So it's up to the student to research it. I will provide them some feedback or some advice. I tell them we definitely can't go to this site, or we can go to this site, but the students will typically go to the beaches. We have some county permits to be able to touch some of the soils and some of the locations. And then some of the students will want to go to other sites. I'm like, I'm sorry, but we don't have permission to go there, but maybe you can ask to see if you want to go there. So we like to have project ownership. We like the students to have a sense that this is their project. They're doing the work. They're making the discoveries, and they are.
Once you've had students that have gone through either Small World or now in the spring, you won't know about these yet, but do you see those students more engaged and then continuing on taking additional science courses or
That's a great question. So like I said, the Small World's goal is to try to retain science majors. So because we're a two-year institution, it's a little hard to track the students, but from what we can see, we see persistence. And persistence is a great measure that we can do here at the college. So we see the students are more engaged, that we have about a 15% increased persistence rate for those that take their Small World class versus taking the traditional microbiology. It's about 15%, so yeah, we see an increase in the number of students.
And so does persistence and more engagement translate into better grades?
That's exactly right. So we see the students that take the Small World, they're about 1 to 2 letter grades higher than the average student that we take in the traditional class. So it does do something, that connection to ownership, we think it excites them. We think it engages them to want to work hard in the classroom.
It certainly makes sense that it would.
Yeah.
From the student's perspective, are they signing up to these classes knowing that this is going to be their experience, or is it they're signing up for any number of classes and they get into the one that would have this as their experience?
Right, so what happens is we have a little disclosure on the course webpage that says this is an authentic research class. But I asked the students the very first day of class, how many of you actually read that? Nobody has read that. So about typically maybe 20% of the class knows what they're enrolling in. We try to get all of the biotech students to take the Small World section if possible, because Dr. Thomas and I like to collaborate on the project, and after they take my Small World, they'll typically take his DNA class or his bioinformatics class, and they're using aspects of it. So if they can do their own organism, or they can use their own organism's DNA in his class, the students are really engaged then in the project.
I think it's fantastic, and I thank you so much for bringing this to our institution. I know that your credibility and your background and experience are a large part of what allows these things to come to the State College of Florida. We're getting ready to sort of wrap up. Do you have any last things you'd like to say about both of these projects?
Sure, yes. So I would like to thank you. I'd like to thank Gary Russell. I'd like to thank the SCF Foundation for the support, because the class does cost a little bit more to run, but I think we're making an impact on these students' lives, and I'm just very grateful that the administration supports this cause.
Well, it's a pleasure. When we're doing things like this and we're impacting students and we're creating excitement, that's when that spark lights for an individual and they realize, wow, this is something I want to do, then we're doing our job as educators.
I think so. Thank you.
Up next, we'll be joined by Dr. Pernot, who will explain what a math conference, art exhibit, and theater production have in common. Welcome back. And now we're joined by Dr. Joni Pernot. Dr. Pernot, I understand that SCF has the privilege of hosting a rather significant mathematics conference this year. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
I'd love to. So this conference is an annual celebration of mathematics. It brings together graduate and undergraduate students and their faculty from public and private, 2-year and 4-year institutions all over the state. So we're very honored this year to be hosting it at our Bradenton campus of SCF. It will be Friday and Saturday, February 17th and 18th. And the exceptional thing this year is that it is the 50th anniversary of the Florida section of the Mathematical Association of America. So we've planned some very interesting events.
So what are those events? What can we expect?
So I'd like to appeal to our viewers and our listeners. We've created some events that we really hope the community will come and participate in. So we have some world-renowned speakers. At 2 o'clock in the beautiful Neal Performing Arts Center on Friday, we'll have Dr. Tim Chartier. He's from Davidson College, which is a liberal arts school in North Carolina, and he's the vice president of the MAA. And he has been a regular contributor on ESPN, NPR, CBS Evening News, because he's an expert in sports analytics. So for the sports enthusiast, he's going to come and talk about Division NCAA 1 men's basketball tournament, which starts in March. Some people call it March Madness. Dr. Chartier calls it March Mathness. And he'll explain to us how that bracketing system works. And he and his students have devised a system where every year they are within about 90% accurate prediction of who will be in that bracket. He'll also talk a little bit about the College Bowl Series for college football. So that's for our sports enthusiasts. And another interesting thing about Dr. Chartier is he's trained as a professional mime. And I'm not sure if we'll get to see that part of his expertise, but I'm sure hoping we do. That can be very entertaining. You can certainly find some YouTube videos of him doing that. So then at 5:30, we'll have Dr. Ken Ono, also in the Neal Performing Arts Center. And he is at Emory University in Atlanta. And he is an expert in number theory. He's published over 150 papers. He also is a subject matter expert for the film The Man Who Knew Infinity, which has just been out in theaters this year, 2016 that would be. And it's a very popular film about a mathematician named Ramanujan, who was not formally trained. He was self-taught, and he still managed to make significant contributions to the field of mathematics, particularly in number theory. So Dr. Ono will come and tell us about the amazing life of this man and how he ended up, Dr. Ono, becoming the subject matter expert for the film. He's going to show us some film clips and tell us about that. And then there are 2 activities happening Friday night at 8, so our community members can choose, and I do hope they come out for one or both of these. So at 8 o'clock in the Fine Art Gallery, there will be a reception for an exhibit that is artistic, but also somewhat related to math. And then also at 8 o'clock is the opening night production of a play called By the Numbers, which also has a bit of a connection to math. So these are events going on Friday that I really hope the community will come out and take part in one or all of them. But throughout the day Friday and then also on Saturday, we'll have what are called breakout sessions where students can come and present their research. Faculty do as well. And those of us that aren't presenting research, we get to hear what the current research is in our field. So it's an opportunity for students and faculty to be current on what's really going on in the world of mathematics.
So I understand the State College of Florida has somewhat of a unique connection with this theater production that we're going to be putting on. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Oh, it's fabulous. I could talk a lot about it. It started about 2 years ago, and what happened is we approached Dean Anthony in the theater department and asked if there was a play that could be put on coincident with the conference. He read a lot of plays, and there just wasn't really anything that matched the dynamics of what we have at our college, which is a primarily large female population. So he read a lot of scripts, and he was looking for a play that had some math in it, but was touching and funny and catered to a lot of female actors, because he was seeing a lot of scripts that were kind of flipped the other way with the gender roles. And so he came to me and said, I'm just not having much luck finding the right kind of script. So in all innocence, I said, well, can't we just write one? And he looked a little puzzled and said, yes, actually, let's do that. So he appealed to playwrights in New York City. He posted on some professional actors board, and ironically, it kind of came around through a student not a student, but a playwright whose parents used to teach at MJC, which was Manatee Junior College, before it was Manatee Community College, before it was State College of Florida. So it's a small world. And she asked, how can we make this happen? She got some playwright friends to get involved. And so the four of them created this play specifically to celebrate the 50th anniversary of the Florida section of the Mathematical Association of America. And I could just keep going on and on about that show. So the playwrights themselves, none of them are mathematicians, and they laughingly said, we can't even balance our checkbook. How are we supposed to write some plays about math? So Altai Oskinner and I agreed to be their subject matter experts, and we had some email dialogue going back and forth. They ended up writing about 16 short plays, and of those short plays, we've chosen 10 that kind of have a cohesive unit, and we've put them together, and we've now called it By the Numbers. And of course, our students are acting in it. But what I would like people to know is one of the plays, called The Incompleteness Theorem, almost all of the dialogue came from our math students. And we weren't even entirely sure how this was going to work. We were just asked to poll our students on, why do you like math? Or why do you like calculus? And then their answers to that query became the dialogue for this play. So that's one of the plays that will be performed. I'm really excited to see it, and so are the students.
It sounds fascinating. I can't wait to see it. How
Right.
is it this wonderful opportunity came to the State College of Florida?
Well, that's interesting. We have such a wealth of resources at our college, not only the faculty that are so talented and so willing to work so hard on an event like this. We also have a beautiful performing arts center, a beautiful fine arts gallery, and a beautiful theater. So honestly, it's not that hard to put together a conference that is deserving of a 50th anniversary celebration that will attract people from all over the state. So the Mathematical Association of America is the largest society in the U.S. to promote collegiate math. There are over 23,000 members, and they have 39 chapters. The state of Florida is itself a section, and so within the Florida section, which is probably arguably the most active section, State College of Florida is just a hub of activity. Just to give you an example, there are 10 board members for the Florida section of the Mathematical Association of America. 3 of them are SCF faculty members. So at the time when we were bidding for the conference, it's a bidding process, very similar to bidding for the Olympics or for the Super Bowl, although maybe not as grand an event as all that, as much as I would like to think so. So at the time, I was president-elect for the Florida section of the MAA, and another of our faculty members, Altai Oskinner, was president-elect for FATICMA. So that stands for the Florida Two-Year College Mathematics Association, and their aim is to promote things exclusively for the two-year college. So we were both president-elect at the time, and we put in our bid, and honestly, there was very little opposition. We've put on conferences before, and they've always been fantastic. So people wanted to come back here and have another conference, and we promised them to have some very special events, which we have managed to arrange.
What does it mean to the entire math faculty of the State College of Florida to have this opportunity right here on our own campus?
They're so excited. You know, a funny thing is the person who designed the program asked Altai and I, would we send the committee that put together the program, and we said, we're not really sure. What do you mean the committee? Well, who of your faculty helped on this? And we said the entire faculty, all 18 of them. So that was just kind of a novel concept for them that many people would want to get involved. And that's just how we do things at SCF, particularly in the math department. We're a family, and we have this really positive attitude where we really kind of try to outdo each other. It's really kind of interesting. You know, earlier at the opening of the show, you were mentioning the Brain Bowl, and our own Christina Dwyer is one of the coaches of that, and she's in the math department. And we'd like to get involved, and maybe the nature of being mathematicians, we're pretty good at organizing, and we like doing it. We have a lot of tolerance for it. So the whole faculty has been really excited about it. Everyone's contributing and getting involved, and they'll all be there doing their part.
What does it mean to the students? Do they have these kind of opportunities to participate in this type of conference very often, or is this fairly unique?
Well, we try to have the conference every year. Our students, again, they're exceptional, I have to say, and they love getting involved. So just, you know, a little snippet. I brought a sign-in sheet to my Calc 3 class, which is 25 students, and I said, I need some commitments. So if you're interested in working the conference, you know, let me know and I'll find something for you to do. 24 of the 25 signed up, put their name in writing. We want to come and help. Also, one of our students is actually presenting, which is somewhat unheard of. Typically, we try to get a few students, but they're mostly graduate students that will come and talk about their research. One of our students who now is a graduate student at University of West Florida, Robert, he'll be presenting. And then I'd like to call her our student, but she's actually now a professor at the University of South Florida, the Sarasota campus. She'll be presenting a topic. Oh, and then there's another student that is now at New College who will be presenting. So we have our fingers in all parts of it, and we are just really excited about students getting involved at all levels and just continuing the love of math and sharing that with other people.
So I think the student that you're referring to from New College was also the captain of our Brain Bowl team the year we won the national championship.
And he went to New College and started a Brain Bowl team for them.
And they beat us.
Right.
And I said, that's only okay because you started with us.
That's right. Careful what you ask for. You just might get it.
But right. You know, one of the things that student said to me that I thought was so interesting was that math wasn't what he was focused on until he became involved in the Brain Bowl. He got to work with Christina Dwyer, one of our faculty members. Mm-hmm. And it was that moment, as Dr. Warwick and I were talking about, that it was just that spark. And all of a sudden to him, it now became his passion.
It's sort of like, you know, the field of dreams. If you build it, they will come. If you put it out there and you tell the students that math is fun and you're going to come to this event and you're going to be awesome, they tend to believe it. You know, I tell them all the time what a wonderful group of students they are. We have this annual test that we take, which is called the AMATIC competition. And other schools practice for weeks and weeks and weeks, and they meet and then they form their team. We just give it to our top students and just ask them to come by in the afternoon and take the test and see how they do. And we typically rank in the top 5 of the 7-state area that takes this test in our area. So it's a testament to our students and how much they enjoy math and they get involved in it.
Well, also a testament to our faculty. And
well, thank you.
Engaging the students and
so.
Obviously transferring a lot of good knowledge as it relates to mathematics.
Mm-hmm.
But I'd like to shift our conversation just a minute and talk a little bit about STEM. It's something that involves both Professor Warwick and Professor Pernot and
Mm-hmm.
the students that you're working with in general. Can you tell us what STEM is and what it is we're trying to accomplish by reaching down into even the younger grades to create some enthusiasm?
Sure. So STEM stands for Science, Technology, Engineering, and Mathematics. And it's a kind of collaboration between all of the disciplines. So there's a huge unmet need right now in the workforce for having well-trained future employees. The employers are always looking for well-trained STEM majors. There's some current modeling that has been going on by the US government for economic growth conditions, and they say that we need 1 million STEM trained majors, and they don't exist in America. So a lot of times companies are turning to internationals, and they're bringing them in on green cards, and that's causing the cost of goods to go up here in America. So if we can train and grow our students here in America to become better trained in the STEM, we can end up reducing the cost of goods and have more students prepared for the labor market.
Are you finding that reaching out into, and I know we'll be doing this with PAIR, but I imagine our math faculty as well are working with some of those middle school, high school students to begin that generating the interest to get students to pursue those avenues. So what are you doing in that regard?
Well, one of the things the math department does every year is we sponsor a test called the Math ACEs, and we do this with the Society of Civil Engineers, and we give the test to all the local high schools, public and private, and each school will have a winner, and we go to the awards ceremony at their school and we present them with a check and an honor. And it's just a nice collaborative effort with the community that we have sponsors that back it. We have all the SCF faculty write the questions, which are rather challenging, actually. And then the students look forward to it every year. And typically 5 students per school can take it, so it's kind of an honor to even be asked to take it. And then the top candidate from each school is honored in that. So that's one outreach program we do with the high schools.
Do you find, Dr. Pernot, that when students come to the State College of Florida, math is one of those gateway areas when they start out that it can be the most intimidating? And what do we do to try and help students get past that?
Math is intimidating for many people, unfortunately. Our wonderful faculty helps. We do have some mentorship programs that we started as part of our, what was the name of that program? Eric, you're in it, right? You're mentoring students, the first time in college students?
Yes, so it's the faculty mentoring program. Mm-hmm. So we look for students that are first time in college, none of their family members have gone to college before, and then we try to provide them additional assistance. We make sure that they know about all the resources that are available, like the ARC, that's free tutors that can help them with their math classes. So we have it in the gateway classes right now. We have it in math and ENC 1101. So they have to be involved in, I believe, college algebra is the main class that they take. And we pair a faculty member up with the student, and we'll meet with them one-on-one throughout the course of the semesters. Hopefully a couple times they'll come and talk to us, and we'll talk about career goals as well as any struggles they might be facing in the classroom, and we try to help them in their struggles to hopefully succeed through the class.
So there are these things in place for them, sure. Did that answer your question?
Yeah. Okay. I know that for many students that I talk to, it's math is always a big fear factor, and it's good to know that there are a lot of resources to help students to be able to get past that, because there's so much more ahead. Can you tell me a little bit about what are the careers in those STEM fields that are part of that million jobs that need to be filled?
So I can speak specifically about our discipline. So we're looking for mainly biotechnology is a huge growing area, we need mathematicians, we need engineers, people to fix our roads, people to design new innovative technologies. That's the growing area, and I think that the sciences are always trying to figure out how to better prepare and train students, and that's the reason why we're trying to shift to more of the authentic research experiences in the college years, because the employers say the students don't have the skill sets. Just teaching them a technique or mastering a skill set or reading out of a book, they don't have real world experiences. So we try to empower the students as much as we can to face real world challenges and try to come up with solutions, and then that may empower them to come and be creative on their own, where they can then solve problems that we don't even know what the problems are right now today.
Dr. Pernot, what are we teaching our students who want to go into the field of math that could be potential careers for them?
So we get a lot of majors that are engineering based, civil engineering and electrical engineering, and I usually poll my students the first day of class and ask them what their majors are. This is in Calculus 2, Calculus 3, the upper level math courses that we teach. And primarily there are a lot of engineering majors and some information technology majors. And so I like to challenge them with being a member of the global community. And although you're an excellent science and math person because you've made it this far in math, try to bring art into the conversation. And this is something that has been touted as STEAM. It started in around the year 2014, and it's something that's been championed by Rhode Island School of Design, and it has been adopted by several institutions and corporations. But there's a bit of a tug of war because we don't mean to imply that STEM is not letting art into the equation or that STEAM is making everything about art. But I try to get my students to apply art to problem solving. So I'm a product of New College. I'm a graduate of there, and I got a liberal arts education, and I just learned to put all these pieces together and make sure that the thing that you're focused on is also incorporating other things within that means. So I find when I challenge students with an artistic ability, it gives them some motivation and some ideas for how to approach the problem, maybe think outside of the box, and you bring the right brain thinking into problem solving, and now you have innovative ideas and creative solutions that help drive the science and the technology and the math. And so it's been so fun for me to put this conference together and get the art department involved and get the theater students involved and tell my math students to go out and see how art lives and exists and coexists with the science majors. And one of the things I did that I'm even doing with my lower level math class is that I made a worksheet that goes with the art gallery exhibit. And if any of our community wants to see it, I believe Joe Locasano is going to have it on file there at the art gallery. So it gives you some background reading about the artist and the way that he used geometry and linear forms in a very controlled fashion. And yet, arguably, it's art. It's beautiful. It's visually compelling. So I'm sending my math students over there and asking them to take this, gallery tour, self-guided, and to look at the questions while they're over there and really think about that connection between art and math. And I hope that will keep some of them interested in the majors and keeping that moving forward so that they're always thinking about innovative ideas and novel ways to approach problems.
I would agree with you. I think the art is really important because it's the creative aspect that really helps them think about how to solve these problems that we don't know how to solve. It's the thinking outside of the box. And I think that art blend that you experienced at New College, being well-rounded, diverse, I think that really does play an important role.
And one of the big topics that I hear about today is the role of liberal arts in a STEM-dominated world. And I think you've addressed that a little bit, but Joni or Dr. Pernot, your experience is very much bringing together those two ideas, and even your conference exhibits that.
Right.
Can you talk a little bit more about how students are receptive to the idea of the liberal arts in the STEM world, since so much focus has been on STEM in the last several years?
Well, I think most students and most people in the community have heard STEM. STEAM is kind of a new thing. It's just, like I said, it's just a few years old. And so students in those majors, they're gonna get the science and the math, but again, I just encourage them to also get involved in the art. So they're gonna come and see these breakout sessions, which are very rigid mathematics, and I've told them, don't be concerned if 10 minutes into the talk, you're no longer clear what's going on. But I want our students to have a balance of, now I can go over to this art show and I can interpret the geometry the way I want to, or I can go to the theater production. And one thing I wanted to emphasize about the theater production, by the way, is it's not really a play about math. It's about problem solving. It's about relationships among people. It's about being creative to find a solution. So I'm hoping that our students will get some of both when they go to this conference. That they are being presiders for the conferences, introducing the speakers, so hopefully they'll absorb by osmosis, if nothing else, because they'll be sitting there during the discussion, telling the speaker when there are 5 minutes left. And then they also have to, well, I shouldn't say have to, I've asked them to see either the gallery or the play, the theater production, on their own time, because I want them to get that balance. I want them to see that, and that's just, that's what I like to do, and so I share it with my students. And they don't seem to mind too much.
One of the things we also hear is that there's a disconnect when students graduate. They have the wonderful technical skills, but where we fall down, not State College Florida, but more across the nation is on those soft skills. So as professors working with students, are you working those into your curriculum, or how are they part of that learning experience that a student will have as they go through school?
Can I take that one?
Yeah.
So at the turn of the century, we had a grant. I don't remember the exact name of it, but it was, what is the workforce looking for in their college graduates when they, are they ready for the workforce if they're not going to go on to university? So back in the year 2000, I created something called the employability grade, which is those soft skills. It's accountability. If you can't be in class, call or email, let me know. The ability and willingness to work in small groups and share ideas. The idea of not everything is just a number, even if the answer is 4, you may still have to actually write a sentence to explain why the answer is 4. And it's kind of an unusual thing to them. The very first day in class, I tell them, congratulations, you just made 100 on your first math test just by being here. I have faith in you. I have confidence that you're going to keep this grade just by doing what you should be doing, which is coming to class and participating and being open-minded. So a lot of my students initially are a little resistant. They've never had such a thing, especially in math class. But by the end, they really become better writers and more accountable. And they often tell me, I learned more than just math in this class. And I that's a testament to them and their willingness to just try new things. So that's one thing I've tried with my classes, to develop the soft skills.
Anything in particular, Dr. Warwick, that you can think of? I imagine in science classes there's a lot of lab reports and things of that nature.
Yes, we have a lot of writing, and that can be one of the trying skill sets for most of our students. They're challenged. So I encourage them to go to the ARC, get help. There's free tutors available to them, and a lot of them go down that path.
So for both of you, part of what you're doing in your leadership roles with the MAA and in writing the grants that you're writing are participating in many of these soft skills that employers say are so important. So how did, in your experience in life, going through and studying math and studying science, did you develop those skills?
You want to go first?
Sure. Well, I actually, I'm an odd balance of left brain and right brain, if there is such a thing. I always wrote, when I was a child and people would ask, what do you want to be when you grow up? Oh, I'm going to be an author illustrator. And then somewhere along the way, I just got captivated by math, really as an art form. And then I came to New College and I was going to major in art. And there was just a sequence of events that led to me majoring in math. But all those qualities were always present in me. And it was at New College where I really learned you don't really have to pick one. You can emphasize and combine all of them. And that was so eye-opening for me. And I must say I've spent the rest of my life trying to share that with other people. And I'm so grateful to have a home like SCF where I can share that with my students. And admittedly, I think in the beginning, some of them think I'm a little odd, and maybe I am, but I'm not your typical scary math teacher. There's nothing intimidating about me. I tell jokes in class. I think I'm kind of funny. I don't know if the students do or not, but, and it's just so rewarding. I've been here long enough now, about 18 years, where students come back and they have these fabulous careers, and they all started right here at SCF, or MCC as it was at the time when I started working here, and that's just been such a beautiful thing for me to experience and to live through and to share with other people.
I think for me, I'm still young, I'm still trying to grow, so I think I'm still trying to hone in on those skills. I kind of see things a little more black and white. I wish there was a little more steam around when I was an undergrad student. I see things more in a little bit of a gray scale sometimes, and I sometimes struggle being creative, so that's something that I always kind of strive to learn and still work for.
Well, it's good to know that there's lifelong learning. We all can continue to do things and be better. And how long have you been with the State College of Florida?
So I'm in the middle of my 5th year right now. So this will be my 5th year.
Well, you both have done amazing things in your careers, but amazing things for the State College of Florida and our students, and I cannot say thank you enough. I know we're about out of time. Is there anything in particular you'd like to share with us before we close off our time together?
I would really just like to say that the theater production, as well as the art gallery exhibit, were created sort of as anniversary presents for the Florida section of the MMA because it's their 50th anniversary. But they've actually evolved into gifts for the community. And this is something that the theater production will run for 2 weeks. You can check the SCF website and get the dates. And the exhibit is up now, and it's open through March 1st. The gallery hours are 10 to 3. And I just hope that our community will just wander over and let me go look at the art gallery and let me go see one of those plays, because I promise they're not scary math plays. They're really fun and endearing. They have a lot of heart. They're going to be really well done. Having been the subject matter expert, I got to read the scripts before they came out, and they're really impressive and one of a kind. You can't find that anywhere else. So I just implore our community to come out and take advantage of their college.
So very similar, I would just like to say, if you found what we talked about today interesting, come on down and see what we're doing at SCF.
Thank you. I absolutely agree. And I think anybody who is really interested in what STEAM is all about, this math conference that we have certainly is an embodiment of that. So Dr. Warwick, Dr. Pernod, thank you very much for being here today and for your dedication to SCF, to our students. And I look forward to watching these initiatives unfold as we go out through the spring semester. The celebration of our 60th anniversary is just starting, and it's things like this that really bring us to the forefront of what's happening in our community, in our disciplines. And I can't, again, say thank you enough. And I hope you and the community will join me at our SCF Avenues event coming up Saturday, February 25th on our Bradenton campus. It's our opportunity to show off our institution. And I know some of you will have your programs there and will be participating in that. And there will be fun, fireworks, and food. How can you say no to that? Thank you again.